exceptionally exceptional for whatever reasons. Correct. So never, at least we had not seen any such instance before where one exam getting postponed for almost about 11 days. I don't know what to say, but at least positive side is that even I was just thinking, even if you had studied one chapter a day, you could have covered all the 11 chapters by tomorrow, right? So that was the time gap that was given. I hope you have utilized the time. I do understand the anxiety, the sort of stress that you would have undergone, probably something which is beyond anybody's control, which happened. But it's okay. You got time, with less pressure. You could have covered all the concepts that you had thought of covering. I mean, good time to prepare a paper so well, so you can make it. This paper can really change your exams results. I mean, that's hope. I wish and I pray that it is going to change in a positive manner. That probably because of this, you should come and say that we cleared both the groups and you got a rank. So that is, we will be looking forward to same. Yeah. So great. So whatever time, like 45 minutes time was is allocated to us. So first of all, thank you so much for taking off your time from the busy schedule and then attending this session. Means a lot. I would the I don't know what to say, because when I accepted to take the session, I didn't really know what to discuss, because everything is discussed, everything is done. It's just that you just have to go and write. The execution part is only pending, and I'm pretty confident with so much of rigorous studies and then revision classes and then mock tests, all those things. You have come to a stage of reasonably getting good marks in this paper. So that's the assertion, if I may call, you know, made by all of you, which is tested for possible or potential misstatement. So what I thought of doing is, let's go through the RTP. I'm sure you would have gone through, but just let's run through the RTP so that it kind of like gives us a glimpse of the entire syllabus. Right before we get into a couple of last minute points, please go through some of the important Schedule 3 disclosures that we have discussed in the class, that we have made a note, probably investments, additional regulatory information, cash and cash equivalents, employee benefit expenses, inventories, PP, Benami transaction reporting, cryptocurrencies, and then audit trail reporting. So probably if you could glance it again, it will be very nice, so that you have the clear idea as to what are the disclosure requirements. If it is asked for, you can write it better. Point number one. Point number two, please again go through all the list of exemptions, exceptions, relaxations, which is there. This is very limited in audit, at least as compared to company law. But please go through CARO, internal financial controls, audit committee. These are a few major aspects. And also in case of multi-state cooperative societies, when audit, and then LLP requirements, when LLP is required to get their books of account audited, and certain forms that needs to be filed, like ADT 4, when it is to be filed, what are the timelines for filing ADT 4, and in case of government companies, what are the additional steps that we need to take into consideration. And then LLP forms, Form 8, Form 11, what are the due dates for filing them? Form 8 is by 30th of October and Form 11 is by 30th of May. That means 2 months and 6 months. So that's the timeline. So again, please brush through all those concepts, so that even if it is asked in MCQ, and limits, like for example, in CARO, we have limits like 1:20, the Nidhi company net owned funds to deposit ratio, and 10% in unencumbered TDs. And in CARO, with respect to fixed assets and inventories, 10% change in the net carrying value of each class of PP needs to be reported if the revaluation is done. Right. So all those points, if you can analyze and go through, it will be very good, so that you know the right answer for those questions, even if it is asked. And also the NPA provisioning requirements. If it is substandard, what is the percentage? If it is doubtful, D1, D2, D3, secured component, unsecured component, and what happens if it is guaranteed by central government, guaranteed by central government? What happens if it is not guaranteed by central government? What is the income recognition principle? All those are, the pointers that we may generally tend to not remember by. So please go through that: 15%, 25%, 40%, 100% provisioning, all those things. And out of order, when will an account become out of order? And a simple calculation on the drawing power. Because generally what happens in practical papers, we focus more towards the theoretical concepts. So here and there, some practical questions may come, and let's be prepared for that also. So those are the few aspects that I wanted to highlight. So let's get into the discussion of RTP. I'm sure you would have done it. It's going to be a repetition for you. Please bear with me for one last time. Next, I'm not going to irritate you. So MCQs I'm not going to discuss. So we'll come to the first. I'm hoping at least one of the questions come in your exam and then you write, with almost answer equal to study material. So we've discussed that generally when these type of case study questions are given, we'll first see the last three lines of the question. Can auditors give complete assurance or guarantee in the above situation? Discuss with reference to the objectives of audit. So basically, they're asking you to, in simple terms, they're asking you to write the objectives of audit as per SA 200. Right. So what are the objectives of audit? Twin objectives to obtain reasonable assurance about the financial statements as to whether the financial statements are prepared in all material respects in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework and are free from material misstatements, whether due to fraud or error, and thereby enabling the auditor to express an opinion. Second point is to communicate on the findings and as required by the SAS. Well, audit only provides reasonable assurance. Future events are not in the control of the auditor, and auditor's assurance does not provide the viability or the guarantee of the success of the business. In line of the above requirements, auditor cannot give complete assurance on the financial statements of the company. So that's all you're supposed to conclude your answer with. Quoting SA 200, writing the objectives, and then concluding the fact that auditors cannot give complete assurance would probably give you either 4 or 5 marks depending on how the question is asked for. Next is we move to ethics and independence. Chapter 11. C. Jatin is the auditor of XYZ Pharma, his brother-in-law's partnership firm. His family relationship creates a conflict of interest that could unduly influence his professional judgment, making it difficult for him to provide an unbiased opinion on the firm's financial statements. Identify and explain the fundamental principles of professional ethics involved in the above situations. Which fundamental principle is there? Is in this case point number 1.
Objectivity.
Very good. It is objectivity. Now, I'm sure that you know this, but please don't get confused with threats to independence. They go hand in hand. The moment we see this, our mind generally focuses towards threats to independence. Okay, which threat is involved on a different footing? Which threat does it create?
Familiarity.
Very good. Familiarity threat, because it's my brother-in-law, so I know him. So my personal interest, I become too sympathetic towards their interest. So it's a familiarity threat. So, but the question is not about that. The question is about which of the fundamental principles. So objectivity, because influence, an unbiased opinion is unable to take the unbiased opinion. So objectivity is directly linked to independence. Next. In another assignment of tax audit of a company, CA Jatin is also required to prepare company's tax return. He fails to check the latest provisions of Income Tax Act, which allows for a major new deduction, resulting in the client overpaying income tax. Which one is it?
Professional competence.
Very good. Professional competence and due care. It's being updated with the latest requirements and knowledge. Failure on the part of the person to update on the developments is reflects that you are not having the professional competence and due care. Next, see, Jatin is also preparing GST returns of one of his clients. The client instructs him to intentionally understate sales figure to reduce tax liability. Which one?
Integrity.
Yes, integrity. Very good. See, the word intentionally is there. So knowingly providing false information or providing false certification questions your integrity. So identification of this is very crucial. Once you identify, you know what to write. What is integrity? Being straightforward and honest in approach, and not knowingly engaging in any activities which is not right. So that you will write. So each point probably may give you the 4 marks or 5 marks depending on the marking. Let's not bother about the marking, but the concept. So there are threats to independence and also fundamental principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence, professional behavior, and confidentiality. These are five professional fundamental principles, and don't get confused with threats to independence. Maybe this question can come: which are the threats identified here? We don't know. So please be very careful when you read the question before you start answering it. Then we move to understand the audit strategy, planning and program. Mika Associates Chartered Accountants are appointed as the statutory auditors of B Limited for the first time. Before commencing the audit, the engagement partner considers the integrity of the directors, evaluates compliance with ethical requirements, including independence, and sends an engagement letter to avoid misunderstanding. Explain the above stage of the audit planning process as considered by the engagement partner. What is this?
Preliminary engagement.
Very good. Preliminary engagement activities, and the other one is planning activities. So you need to write all the things about preliminary engagement activity. They have only given ICC, integrity of the client, compliance with ethical requirements, and competence to perform the engagement. What does it provide you? It helps you to determine your ability to plan and perform the audit. It allows you to decide whether you can take up the engagement or not. So you have to explain about preliminary engagement activity. You have to quote SA 300 and mention there are two aspects to it: preliminary engagement activity and planning activity. Well, this is regarding the preliminary engagement activity, and write whatever is given there, which is still valid point, right? So that is what we'll have to do. Then we move to audit evidence, very important. With respect to SA 505 external confirmations, name the appropriate terms. So definitions, I told you definitions are very important. Audit evidence obtained as a direct response, written response to the auditor from a third party in paper form or by electronic form or other medium. What is it?
External confirmation.
Very good. It is very simple. If these type of questions come, it is called external confirmation. Definition of 505 only is that a request that the confirming party respond directly to the auditor, indicating whether the confirming party agrees or disagrees with the information in the request or providing the requested information. What is it?
Positive confirmation.
Very good. Positive confirmation request. On the other hand, we have negative confirmation request, where the confirming party is required to respond only in case he is in disagreement with the information. I mean, I think we preempted the question. A request that the confirming party respond directly to the auditor only if the confirming party disagrees. It is negative confirmation request. Please write it properly. Don't write negative confirmation. It's a form of a request. A failure of the confirming party to respond or fully respond to a positive confirmation request returned undelivered.
Non-response.
Very good. It's called non-response. Don't prove it with an example. Please respond. It's called non-response. Then a response that indicates a difference between information requested to be confirmed or contained in the entity's records and information provided by the confirming party.
Exception.
Very good. Exception. So these are the I mean, they've literally copy pasted the definitions of in the order also. They've not even changed the order. So very simple. SIMI, or whatever you want to call, chartered accountants have been appointed as statutory auditors of Delight and Delight, a partnership firm. For the first time, the previous year's financial statements were not subject to audit. During the audit, the new auditors noticed differences in some opening balances brought forward from previous year. With respect to relevant essay, explain the objective of the auditor with respect to opening balances. Which essay?
510.
Very good. 510 initial audit engagements, opening balances, right? So what is the objective? The objective of the auditor is to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence whether the opening balances contain any misstatements, and to see whether the accounting policies adopted in the opening balances are consistently applied in the current year. If not, the changes have been properly dealt with in accordance with the requirements of AFRF. So they're just asking you to write the objectives. They're not asking what you should do with respect to this case, right? And also to report depending on and auditors are required to perform specific audit procedures to obtain evidence on the correctness or misstatements in the opening balances. So these are the aspects that we will have to write. So in 510 is applied only when the audit is performed by a predecessor auditor or when the audit was not at all done in the previous period or periods. So this has connection to SA 710. While SA 710 says your audit opinion shall not refer to corresponding figures, but if 510 applies in certain cases where your subject matter for modification is because of the opening balances or because it lacks comparability or there are misstatements in the opening balances, irrespective of whether it was audited previously or not, you will have to draw reference. So that is 510 is an exception to 710, if you can connect like that. And also, if the financial statements were audited by a different auditor, you may want to highlight it in which section in the audit report may be considered appropriate. What do you want to use if you want to highlight the fact that previous financial statements were not audited?
Other matter paragraph.
Very good. Under other matter paragraphs, you will have to highlight, because other matters is used as per SA 706 for those areas where the auditor wants to draw the responsibilities of the audit or the financial statements or as anything which is fundamental to the users, which is not presented or disclosed in the financial statements. Why? If it is presented and disclosed in the financial statements, and if it's fundamental to the user's understanding, he will have to draw emphasis of matter and not other matter. So that is what is covered. Then we move to understand the audit documentation, FSY and Co. It's a very big question. So explain various points discussed by audit partner with reference. So it means you have to go through this. FSY and Co. Chartered Accountants completed the statutory audit of Himmat. The audit partner instructed audit team to finalize and assemble the audit documentation immediately after signing the audit report on 15 September. However, team took this instruction lightly, like you people, and forgot to assemble the audit documentation. After 6 months, audit team started assembling the file and completed its documentation. When audit partner became aware of this, he called a meeting of staff and discussed policies and procedures for timely completion of audit files, changes to audit documentation, and period of retention of engagement documentation. Explain various points. So there are three things. One, assembly of audit file, changes to audit documentation, retention. So which essay or what is the reference that we need to provide?
SQC1.
Very good. To SQC1 read with SA 230 because SA 230 per se does not provide. SQC1 requires the firms to establish policies and procedures for a timely completion of the audit file. An appropriate timeline is considered to be not later than 60 days from the date of auditor's report. So in this case, the team has completed the audit documentation, assembly of final audit file beyond 60 days, which is not in line with the requirements of standards. Point number one. Point number two, changes to audit documentation. Once the assembly of audit documentation is made, changes should not be made. And assembly of audit file is an administrative process. It per se should not result into obtaining any new audit evidence or performing any audit procedure. Administrative aspects like sorting, collating, cross-referencing, deleting, superseding drafts, completing checklists, sign-offs, all those things can be made. So that is what you'll have to write. And period of retention of this audit documentation. Audit documentation should be maintained for a period of at least 7 years from the date of the auditor's report or group auditor's report, whichever is later. If a firm has established policies beyond that, entities are allowed to maintain the same for longer period. It can, in any case, cannot be lower than 7 years. So that is the concept that we discussed. Then we move to probably we move to audit report, I guess, after evidence in this. No, we move to audit of items of financial statements. In the balance sheet of Watches Limited, additions worth 20 crores appearing under PPE. Auditor of the company, in addition to the procedures undertaken for verifying completeness of additions to PPE during the period, while performing testing of additions, also want to verify that all PPE purchase invoices are in the name of the company. Name the relevant assertion for verification of the ownership and procedure to verify the same. What assertion is the auditor trying to verify?
Rights and
obligations.
Very good. Rights and obligations, because rights, though ownership is not an important criteria, rights. How does rights get conferred? Rights get conferred when the title is in the name of the entity. So you need to write all the audit procedures for verifying. So purchase, whether the purchase invoices are in the name of the company, whether it pertains to the relevant period. If the purchase invoices or title deeds are not in the name of the company, ask the reasons for the same. And also the same needs to be reported in the financial statements as well as CARO. So all those things you need to write. Right, mainly a focus on the assertion. Then audit report 701 deals with the auditor's responsibility to communicate key audit matters. It is intended to address both the auditor's judgment as to what to communicate in the auditor report and the form and content. In the above context, explain the purpose of communicating key audit matters. So objective is what we need to write. So the purpose is to enhance the degree of the confidence in the audit report and to bring all those significant or fundamental aspects which the auditor considers it necessary for the users to understand, which includes the areas which were considered to be most significant in the audit, the audit procedures performed. That has to be written 701. And mind you, 701 is compulsory for listed company audits. What I'm expecting is one question where what are the factors which determines the selection of key audit matters? There are 3 items: significant judgments, significant judgments, higher risk of material misstatement, and significant estimates made by the entity. So all those things are areas for key audit matters. 701. GEM Limited has appointed GSP and Co. as its statutory auditors. While conducting its audit, the audit partner requested the management to provide a written representation that is fulfilled. The manager is of the view that since all records and evidences have already been given, a separate representation is not required. Explain. I want you to please read the answer because I feel that most of us would ignore written representations for whatever reasons. So let's read the answer once. See, this is a very big way of explaining. I mean, this is not required. This from this, can we read? Can anyone read? Or you want me to read? I'll read it for you. Yes. Okay. The written representations requiring fulfillment of management's responsibility in relation to the above draw on the agreed acknowledgement and understanding of the management's its responsibility in terms of the audit engagement by requesting confirmation that it has fulfilled them. So that means you can connect to which standard?
SA 200.
SA 210. See, in 210, they will say that they will provide. It was futuristic. 580 is historic. So they say we told you that we will provide all those things. We have provided. Like initially, I told I will cover all these topics, and then once I completed, I said I have covered all these. So same way. The auditor may also ask management to reconfirm its acknowledgement. That means, have you really done it? Did you really do all those things that you were originally obligated or agreed to do? Is something when this is particularly appropriate when those who sign the terms of audit engagement on behalf of the entity no longer have the relevant responsibilities. That means the top management has changed. The terms of the audit engagement were prepared in the previous year. They may feel that it is probably a bit old. There is an indication that management misunderstands those responsibilities. So changes in circumstances make it appropriate to do so. If you read this, you can connect it to 210 again. When is, in case of recurring audits, when is the need for us to change the engagement letter, revise the engagement letter? So that is what is the question about. Yeah, this one. While verifying provisions of advances of a branch of HFC Bank as part of the statutory audit, CME notices that credit facilities consisting of term loan to JT Mills have been classified under D2 category. The outstanding balance in the above term loan account as on 31st March is 150 lakhs. Value of security held is 100 lakhs. The branch has made provision of 75 lakhs. Is the provision made by branch proper? What do you think? How much is the provision that needs to be created if it's doubtful? Doubtful two category?
25%.
25?
For
D2.
secured 40%,
It
for
is
unsecured
40.
100%.
That's why I told you it's important for you to remember. It's 40%. See, I'll repeat. If it's substandard, you are going to create 15%. If it's doubtful one, you're going to create 25. If it is doubtful two, you're going to create 40. If it is doubtful three, very simple, 100. This 25, 40, 15 is only for secured advances. If it's unsecured, 100% provision needs to be made. Okay, now how much is supposed to be created? See, out of this loan, 150 lakh, value of the security is only 100. So what is the secured component? Secured is 100. And what is unsecured?
50 lakhs.
50 lakhs. So 100, how much provision I will create? On 100?
40%, 40 lakh.
40.
40%.
So 100 into 40 will be 40,
40
right?
lakh.
And on the balance 50, how much provision I need to create?
50 lakhs.
100%, 50
50.
lakh.
So 50 plus 40 is
90
lakh.
90. But what is the provision that they have created? 75. Is it proper? No. This
No.
is so simple. But students will not be able to answer this if they have not read it. At least once if they have not read, at least once if they've read it, somewhat they can read. Otherwise, you can have to leave this question. That's why I'm telling you, those topics are very simple, provided at least once you have studied. Then we move to risk assessment and internal control. SPOM and Co. is a firm of chartered accountants established in 2010 with a major focus on audit practice. In 24-25, the firm has 4 partners and 15 article assistants handling various internal and statutory audits. Partners and article assistants meet monthly to discuss various aspects of practical as well as academic issues. While discussing about various aspects of audit risk of material misstatement, etc., partner S asks one of the article assistants to explain the concept of misstatement with the help of at least 5 examples. So what is misstatement?
ACPD that has to be
Mistakes in
recorded
the
versus ACPD that has been recorded.
Yes, it is the amount classification. It is the difference between the amount classification, presentation, and disclosure of an item reported and the amount classification and presentation and disclosure of an item that is required to be reported in accordance with applicable financial reporting framework. Please don't stop it there. Misstatements can result due to error or fraud. Please write that aspect also. And then you are required to give 5 examples. Treating capital expenses, revenue expense, errors of omission, errors of commission, principal errors, all the errors of rectification of errors concept, you can give those examples. Omission or non-disclosure or inaccurate accounting policy application or estimates or judgments having bias. Keep ACPD 4 points and then write one example on each. Probably one you have to write more because 5 they are asking. Okay, that is in fact, these RTP questions are very simple. If these type of questions come, you should be very lucky and happy. Write it properly. So you should read full on full. Then the last unit that we discussed was special features. You're appointed as an auditor of a Great Eastern Hotel, a 5-star hotel. As an auditor, what are the special points that needs to be considered in verifying the inventories in the nature of food and F&Bs, food and beverages? This also, let's read it once. Yes. Sorry. Verification of inventories in the nature of food and beverages. The auditor should carry out. It is therefore extremely important that all movements and transfers of such inventory should be properly documented and to enable control to be exercised over each. So your starting point should always be about internal controls. You can write, the auditor would want to verify the effectiveness of the internal controls. The auditor should carry out tests to ensure that all documentation is accurately processed. Therefore, the following points may be noted in this regard. Areas where inventories are kept must be locked and key retained by the departmental manager because it's all food stores, right? So it can be easily misappropriated. The key should be released only to the trusted personnel and unauthorized persons should not be permitted in the stores area, like rights of admission restricted. Many hotels use specialized professional valuers to count and value the inventories on a continuous basis throughout the year. For one of our clients, they engaged an agency to count the number of beer bottles and number of wine in their wine cellar because it's all very costly. So they did it and they charge about 3 to 4 lakhs, which was an inventory for them. Right, so it's quite substantial. The auditor should ensure that all inventories are valued at the year end, and that he should himself be present at the end of physical verification to the extent practicable, having regard to materiality consideration and the nature and locations of inventories. So these are the points that we'll have to. SA 501 also asks you to do that, right? So all these are the points that we have to keep in our mind. So with this, did we miss out on anything with respect to descriptive questions? I don't think so, right? Did we? Did we, by any chance? Okay, no, I don't think so. So I just went in the order where how we learned these concepts. If you remember, chapter 1, chapter 11, 2, and all those things is what we read and discussed, right? So I hope this was a bit of a glimpse of what you have read so far. I'm sure this has added confidence to your learning. Just one last time, one last activity. Let's do it. Let's revisit all the standards once so that in an exam, if you can, like in prayer last time with all sort of emotions, let's do it one time. Essay 200. You should tell.
Overall objectives.
Overall objectives of
objectives of
independent
an independent
auditor and
auditor
conduct
and
of an
conduct
audit
of
in
an
accordance
audit
with
in
the
accordance with
standards and
standards
auditing.
and auditing.
Yes, essay 210.
Agree in the terms
Agreeing
of
the terms
auditing.
of audit engagement.
Audit engagement. Essay 220.
Quality control of an
Quality
audit of
control of
financial
an
statements.
Quality control for an audit of financial statements. Essay 230.
Audit
Audit
documentation.
Documentation.
Documentation. Essay 240.
Auditor
Auditor responsibility relating to fraud of an audit of financial statement.
Auditor's responsibilities in relation to fraud in an audit of financial statements. SA 250.
Considering the laws and regulation in audit of financial statement.
Consideration of laws and regulations in audit of financial statements. SA 299.
Joint auditor of financial statements.
Joint audit of financial statements. 260.
Communicating with those charged with governance.
Communication with those charged with governance. SA 265.
Communicating deficiencies in internal control to those charged with governance.
And management. 300.
Planning and audit of financial statements.
Planning and audit of financial statements. 315.
Identifying and
assessing the risk of material misstatement through understanding the entity and its environment.
If someone asks you what do you mean by risk assessment procedure, if you write the name of 315, your answer is there. Okay, so that's the importance of the names of the standards. 320.
Materiality in planning and performing of an
Materiality. It appears that you've forgotten after reading so much. Materiality in planning and performing the audit. SA 330.
auditor responsibility relating to assess risks.
The auditor's responses to assess risks. 402.
Audit consideration in relating to entity using service organization.
Very good. Audit considerations relating to an entity using service organization. 450.
Evaluation of misstatement identified during the audit.
Evaluation of misstatements identified during the audit. 500.
Audit evidence.
Audit evidence. 501.
Audit evidence specific confirmation for selected items.
Specific consideration for selected items. 505.
External confirmation.
External confirmations. 510.
Initial
audit engagement opening balances.
Balances. 520.
Analytical procedures.
Analytical
Analytical procedures. 530.
Audit sampling.
Audit sampling.
540.
Auditing
accounting estimate including fair value accounting estimate and related disclosures.
Disclosures. 560.
Subsequent
event.
Very important. Connect with AS4. 570.
Going concern.
580.
Written representations.
Written representations. 600.
Using the work of
Another auditor. 610.
Using the
Using the work of
internal auditor.
Internal auditor. 620.
using the work of auditors expert.
Auditors expert. 700.
Forming an opinion and
Opinion and reporting on financial statement.
And reporting on financial statements. 701.
communicating
Communicating key audit matters
to
to an
auditors.
independent auditor's report.
706.
Modifications.
Modification to the
706.
Emphasis of matter
Emphasis on
emphasis of matter paragraph under the matter paragraph in an independent auditor's
OM in the independent auditors report. 705.
modification to the opinion in an independent auditor's report.
708. Does not exist.
Does not exist.
At this point also why there is a confusion. Okay, 710.
Corresponding figures
Corresponding figures comparative financial statements.
Comparative information, corresponding figures and comparative financial statements. 720.
Auditor responsibility relating to other
The
information.
auditor's responsibilities relating to other information. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. When we do it, it is all over. Now, after doing so much, it's the last leg that you have. Please keep the momentum going. It's just a day away. 31st, give your best, come back and relax. I'll be waiting for you to write your exams, complete it. The moment you see the paper, I visualize and I pray that there should be a smile. Okay, and then I want you to experience, write it with pleasure. Just ensure that you are satisfied with your performance. You need not satisfy anybody. You are answerable only to you, nobody else. If you have done your job, if you feel that you have done a good job, we are all there for you. We are really, really super proud of all of you, irrespective of what the results are going to be. And I'm sure I'm going to meet you again in your pass out session to hear your success story. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your success and growth story. It means a lot. You eat well if you have not eaten. You sleep only if you have not slept. Even otherwise, you sleep well because tomorrow is very crucial for all of us. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day tomorrow and give your best. All the very best. Good luck. God bless you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye, sir.
All the best, guys.